good evening, Detroit and Highland Park, and those of you who are listening to us at 107.3 WVIE in the Virgin Islands. You are tuned in to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie. Tonight I have my co-host Rob in the house. Say what's
Hey,
up,
what
Rob?
up, everybody? You know what it is.
And we have some special guests. We have Pastor Mike Robinson. Say what's up, Pastor Mike?
Hey, everybody. I just thank God to be able to be on this Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream with my dear friend Valerie Bonner. So I'm excited.
Yes, and it's always good to have him. And we have True Ajane. Is that right?
It is.
Okay, so True, say what's up to the audience here.
Peace, everybody. As well, I'm honored to be here on the show and share my thoughts. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you guys. So this is Stop the Madness Monday. You know, every now and then some madness that goes on in America or around the city or around the country, and we just want to address it. So I'm going to start out by giving True props for his gun buyback that he did at Pastor Mike's church in Ypsilanti, because I believe that it's key to get guns off the street and out of the hands of violent criminals. So how did that go for you, True? Was it a success in your opinion?
Very, very, very successful. An unforeseen success. You know, even though we went into the situation very optimistic, we didn't think that we would have the turnout that we did. So it was very successful.
That's good. That's good. You know, I hear a lot as a CPL holder. I appreciate things like that, because when I hear legislation about taking guns off the street or changing the laws or whatever, they'll only, in my opinion, affect someone like myself who is a law-abiding citizen carrying, and not necessarily getting them off the streets and out of the hands of violent criminals or people who use them illegally. But what you did was a start.
Yeah, and I think definitely it was a thin line there. It was a lot of misconception, even though we tried our best to be as blatant as possible with the verbiage that we used and like the marketing. But there was a lot of negative feedback from CPL and pro Second Amendment, citizens. And we just try to let people know this isn't some type of anti-Second Amendment movement. In the urban community, the plight of gun violence compared to suburban community is very, very, very different. And so we were more so talking about the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old that, by the way, is not covered by the Second Amendment, that's out here, with the illegal guns and the stolen guns in the community. We, asked them to bring them in, no questions asked, no handcuffs, nobody even wrote anything down, and it was just very successful.
I appreciate that. So, Pastor Mike, it was hosted at your church. What made you inclined to open your doors and allow this event to be held at your church?
Well, I know Brother True, he had a great vision, and I felt that I had a vehicle to allow his vision to come to pass. So if there's any way we can help stop the violence and help stop a young teenager to use that particular handgun or that gun they have on another teenager that's their age, I think any pastor would be willing to open their church doors to allow an event like that to take place.
You're a special pastor, though, Mike. I must say that. You are about the community. Your church is not just in the community. You allow the community in your church, and I don't mean just your membership. So, you get mad respect from me for that reason. I salute you for that. We have increasing.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We have increasing gun violence in the United States. But the coverage, when it's a white person, a mass shooting like at a concert or at a school, or they walk into a church and do a mass shooting or whatever, that coverage and the way the news media handles that is very different than what happens in the Black community. I didn't do research to have concrete evidence of this, but I am inclined to say that the number of casualties due to gun violence in the Black community far exceeds those that took place at Columbine and in Vegas at the concert and at the church. If you combine those lives together, we've lost far many more lives than that. It seems like the murders and the gun violence in our communities have become socially accepted, like this is what we do and that's okay. Rob, what do you think about that?
About gun violence itself, or
Just gun violence in the
well-
black community and a slant on it, don't you
Well,
think?
you know, the black community, we already know we got dealt a bad hand, and then to put the pistol or the guns in the hand of the young folks, it's even reckless, and more reckless. And then when they see these shootings in the different states, some what to me is a copycat kind of thing. And then again, you just got the mental person that's not even, caring about who they hurt. Just their street credibility is what it's called. You could say, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Let's talk
You
a
guessed.
little bit about, yeah, I guess, because that whole street credibility thing.
Well, a
that
lot of
needs to-
well, let me say
I
this
get
here.
it.
Let me
Okay.
say this here,
Go
Valerie.
ahead.
There's a lot of young people out in the streets, in the city of the street, that got their pistol and they become a lot more heroic with it. You know what I mean? And some people do look for street credibility with that gun in their hand.
Yeah, I
you
agree
know.
with that. Now, when you put it that way,
Yeah.
yes, the reason why I said I guess was not basically diminishing your comment
No,
because
no.
they just punks, or whatever. You don't get no street credibility from me because you got a gun. I got one
that
too.
may be true, too,
That
Valerie.
don't make
That
you
may be true, too.
nobody bigger than anyone else. But that is what they think, and that's why
Yeah.
they building these prisons and more of them so they can take that street
I
credibility.
like to quickly add on. I appreciate the young brother that and preacher right here that did the buyback. That was a great idea. That was a great, awesome idea, and I commend you on that. And I want to say thank you to my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk a
Thank
little
you.
bit about this. So we have Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, and all of those people who lost their lives. Some of them didn't even have a gun, right? But then we have these white mass shooters, and they get apprehended alive. One of them got to stop by Burger King and get something to eat. Let's talk about that. Why does law enforcement and people fear the black man so much? Why do you think that?
I don't really believe that law enforcement agencies fear black men. I think black men in this country are devaluated, and I think white men are valuated. And I just believe that it showed you in the case with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, the value of the man versus the white man and the black man. This man lost his life, and this guy, he celebrates it, gets his life celebrated by killing him. They say that he even auctioned his gun off that killed Trayvon Martin for $250,000. So that's crazy. It seemed like that should be illegal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. True, do you have anything to add to that? Like, why do you think? Because to me, when I think back to the times of slavery, we came over in chains at that time, apprehended because I thought we were stronger and wiser, and they were doing that to control us. And I just don't think that any of that has really changed to me. I feel like it is a fear. So, True, what do you think?
I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of systemic strategy in the destroying of the black family as a whole. And I think when you look at gun violence and the accessibility to these high-powered weapons and the constructural struggle or plague that's placed within the urban community, when you tie all these things in, everything that we see, the acting out, the murder, the violence, these are all ramifications of a system that I quite, just feel that it's never been in our best interest.
I agree 100% because I don't think that there was any system built for us to thrive in except for the criminal justice system. And it wasn't for us to thrive. It was just built for us. Every other system was not built for us to excel or necessarily navigate our way through. And the criminal justice system is the same. It wasn't intended for us to navigate our way through. Look at the difference in the sentencing guidelines. Unless look at the wrongful convictions. And then last week's show, we had a man that did 34 years in prison and is ineligible for the $50,000 a year for the compensation that you can receive for exoneration. 34 years, Rob.
Yeah, that's a long time. Being incarcerated.
34 years. That is a long time. And the other guy, he caught a case and it stemmed around criminal sexual conduct to the degree he couldn't even be around his own kids.
Wow.
And he innocent, and they still haven't wiped that clean, so he still can't get a job. He's on CSC list and all of that.
If I'm not mistaken, the brother that did the 34 years, I think he just passed away.
The one that was on this show didn't, but I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of them, and that's sad. You know, that's very sad to me. You know, you spend all of that time incarcerated. The day your feet hit the ground, you should have some type of compensation.
There's a lot of black folks. I'm not going to say black folks, but our culture wise has been wrongly convicted of a lot of things, and it just saddens, you know, just to hear those things. You know what I'm saying? Someone did time for something they didn't do, you know, and it's just one of those situations, you know, that we got. Sometimes you got to deal with it.
Even if you're not wrongly convicted, you're still going to be wrongfully sentenced.
Correct. I understand
so
that.
The sentencing guideline is, when it comes to people of color, is much different when it comes to people that's from the Caucasian culture of people.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. You know, we're moving right along. This is the perfect segue. So we're going to go into a break and listen to a song by Millard Thomas Jr. called As a Black Man. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the Botham Jean case. And we're going to talk about the judge, the conduct of the judge. We're going to talk about the sentencing guidelines. And then we're going to talk about the key witness, Joshua Brown, who was just murdered a couple of days ago.
Wow.
So let's listen to As a Black Man by Millard Thomas Jr., and we'll be back.
I'm just trying to do the best that I can as a strong black man. Yeah. Here I stand as a strong black man, having done all I can to please my fellow man. I don't understand why that knife is in your hand. After doing all I can as a strong black man, I'm gonna take my stand as a black man. I will do the best that I can as a black man. I stand on my own as a black man. I'm gonna sing my song. Oh, this is me. So hear my plea. I'm a young black man, down on my knees. I say this world is wrong, and we don't have too long. I'm gonna take this stand as a strong black man. I feel the rain falling down on me. If you could see what's on my mind, oh, you will see. Everyone would be more kind. Everyone would be happy. I'm gonna keep on my goal Sometimes I gotta move. Gotta press my way through. Gotta press my way through. No, 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 no.
Okay, and we're back. We were listening to As a Black Man by Millard Thomas Jr., who is my cousin, and we are back live. This is going to be a tough segment right here because it just boils my blood, to think about this entire case. Let's talk about Botham Jean.
Yes.
Black man,
Yes.
sitting in his house, eating ice cream.
Yes.
A police officer who should be trained to restrain and use other tactics says she walked into the wrong apartment, even though his apartment had a red doormat in front of it and hers did not. But she says she walked into the wrong apartment, was startled, and shot him in the heart and killed this man in his apartment.
Yeah.
So when I heard that she was convicted, I was happy. I posted, justice has been served. But then when the sentencing came down to 10 years, I was livid.
Yeah, man.
10 years taking a man's life in his own home while he was eating ice cream. So then I started doing a little investigating. The judge, first of all, could not have been impartial. The Dallas Police Department Association contributed to her campaign when she was a judge, so that takes away her impartiality right there. But then let's talk about some of the things she did on the stand. Like after the verdict, she comes out and hugs the murderer. Who does that? And then the bailiff is fixing her hair. And then the brother. Now, I'm not mad at the brother. He's got more God in him than I think I'll ever have. Because to get up and hug her after you've murdered my brother, she would have got slammed to the ground. That would have been a big con job on my behalf. Because I would have pulled that hair and pulled her down to the ground and probably stumped her. That's how strong my faith is. So, I don't know. Or the Mike Tyson, I would have bit her ear. Or something was going to happen.
Wow.
My faith is not right there. And I'm not saying anything against his brother. His faith is stronger than mine would ever be, because I cannot see being in a courtroom and you only get 10 years for murdering my brother, and then I'm going to hug you like that. But that's just black coffee. That's just me. So let's talk about that a little bit. Forgiveness and fairness. Pastor Mike?
Yeah, please ask the pastor first.
True said, please ask the pastor first.
Yeah. That's been a good thing. Yeah.
I think forgiveness is always something we need to practice. And I think forgiveness is always one of the most difficult things in life for us to really do. I do commend the brother for forgiving this woman. If he did, forgiveness is really in the fruit, and it's not just in the conversation. So if he did do that, but I want to kind of back up just a little bit.
Okay.
And what I want to say is that if I was the prosecutor attorney, I think the prosecuting attorney should have more so used a more cunning approach dealing with this case. For instance, I would have asked, what's her name, Amber Geiger. I would have asked her questions like, you are a police officer, you have graduated from high school, you did go through the academy, you are competent, you are not a drug addict, you're not an alcoholic, you are a competent person, is that correct? And I'm sure she would have said yeah. And I would have said, I would have took your story if it was more so the fact that you was not a police officer than being a police officer, because you're telling me that I can send you on a raid and you can go to the wrong house, the wrong apartment, you can go to the wrong place. And if you can't follow instructions that easy as being someone that protect the law, then you need to be incarcerated. If you go to the wrong apartment at time,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you need to be,
Accountable. Yeah.
I mean, incarcerated. You're incompetent.
I
You never should
hope
hold this job.
don't label her cell and let her walk in there with big roof. Yeah, walk in the wrong cell and see what happened. Judgment Day. Yeah, but they're gonna protect her, so she won't even be in general population. None of that'll happen. But don't label her cell and let her walk in there with big roof and see what happened. Let's just see how bad you are. Then she knew darn well what she was doing. She knew that wasn't her. I'm telling you what I think. I think she had a crush on my man. I think they probably messed around a little bit, and I feel like it didn't go the way that she wanted it to. He ended it, and she got mad. She shot him in the heart.
Or her partner found out,
Yeah.
the one that she was sexing.
Yeah,
texting.
something is fishy there. True.
That's
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna give y'all the raw conspiracy.
Okay.
Like he probably was like selling dope or something for her, and he told her that he was gonna stop, and then I don't know, something to that extent. But I just genuinely feel, just off strength, just listening to the whole story, that it's a bunch of baloney. I'm just not here fooled to believe it, and I think the act at the end just kind of justifies what's going on here. It's always some type of distraction or something that's gonna go on to have the community saying, "Oh, I can't believe that happened," to get you, off of the original thing here at hand. And I think that's what's going on. It was a circus in the courtroom, just to get everybody attention off of
really was.
why we're really here.
Yeah.
Like, we look at the essence of why we're really here. Like, let's just make this make sense. Like, you just mistakenly walked into an apartment and killed somebody. Like, you've been in this apartment on this lease for how long?
This is a story
You
never
wasn't
been heard
drunk,
of
you
ever.
wasn't tired. You just walked into this man, and then they coming up hugging and all this other stuff. I like to see the PSI and who got paid. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, to speak on the brother's behalf, the way I was listening to the mother talk about the brother made me think like he might have some slight impairment, mental impairment going on. But also we got to think about they're from the Caribbean. And the Caribbean is not as racist and as biased as we are as Americans. They don't see color as much. So I was thinking about his cultural competency and stuff like that. But Rob, you laying back over there in the cut.
yeah, he is.
So what do you think about it?
Well, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that's out there that people have spoke on. I've heard them all. I've heard the drug thing. I've heard she was married and she had a relationship with the brother. My thing is, you don't walk in an apartment not knowing that you don't have the same doormat. First of all,
You're not on the same floor.
not on the same floor. And you either you was high or you was drunk, and you came in with your guns ablazing to actually you wanted to kill that brother. It's premeditated all day long. That's, first of all, they didn't hit him with the premeditation, because that's what all it is to me. Also, I think that the brother that was eating the ice cream, you know what I'm saying, I think they was messing around and he cut it off. I think she fell in and she fell 100% in. That's what I believe. And he broke it off, and eating ice cream at leisure, and you turn around, you see woman walking in your house. Hey, what's up, Becky?
The fact of the matter that she's an officer and supposed to like state a few things out before she shoot, like appear or stop. I'm an officer. What are you doing here? Like
When in guns are blazing.
But I've been black all my life, and so have you all been.
Of course.
And black people don't leave their doors unlocked at night.
No, we
Not
don't.
one.
Well, it depends on where you at.
Not one.
No.
You get you a black
person.
person from Big Rapids, Michigan, or something. They may leave they stuff unlocked.
I'm from Inkster, man. I'm gonna tell you,
Inkster?
we used to leave our doors.
Yeah,
used
we
to leave our
got
doors
3
open back
locks.
in the
I'm
day.
from Inkster too. We got
But-
more than one lock.
You got to have more than one
everything
lock.
locked.
And you mess with one of them locks, then we locking.
He's
and then
from the
load.
Caribbean originally, so he ain't gonna come over here and leave no door unlocked.
Well, it was too much free. Valerie, it was too much freedom in that
conspiracy, man.
situation, Valerie. And as you mentioned a second ago, it's some don't add up. There's the truth, the lie, and then there's the deceased. You know what I mean? And the deceased can't talk, so then the truth lies with the woman that getting the 10 years. That's another sum. She only got 10 years for that. You know what I'm saying? And then is manslaughter. What does manslaughter carry? 1 to 15, something like that, and she only got 10. Come on, man. Do the math.
And she was gonna do half of that, and then it's
She
something
ain't gonna
about
do-
the law
some
where
manslaughter.
she's at.
She how many manslaughter is what?
But that's murder
it's-
one.
I mean, it
That's
depends on the
premeditated.
case.
Manslaughter
Yeah,
is
it
the
should
one-
have been a higher
It's a
case.
1 to 15. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Anything between 1 to 15, and then
She shoulda got the high end.
as the pastor just said, what you said.
This is premeditated. This is
premeditated.
murder one
That,
for real.
that
for
carried
real.
that carried 25 max on that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so
See, premeditated can't be manslaughter. It got to
Right.
be first degree.
I don't think she's not going to do that. She's not going to do 10.
Well, let's talk about this.
No,
So
she
the
won't do
key
two.
witness, Joshua Brown,
Right.
was murdered a couple of days ago. I heard he was shot in the mouth. Now I don't know if
Statement.
that's true. I was trying to find, a little bit more information to substantiate that. But regardless, in front at the same apartment complex where
Exactly.
all of this has already
Didn't
taken
they live across
place.
the hall from each other? I believe.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And he was killed at this apartment complex. So now to retry the case or anything, the key witness is gone.
I got a theory for that one.
Scandal.
So that is
is
just
it?
crazy right there. The key witness is gone, and so how is that supposed to work?
Police did it.
Well,
Police did it. It was a
True,
hit.
you said something earlier about.
who?
I thought I heard you say something earlier about.
Was the cameras rolling?
No.
I don't recall.
I'm just gonna move on then to say the police probably did kill him, or someone that is part of.
And I'm only talking on the talk show, y'all, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't live in Dallas, and I don't know what's going on. But I think that that's really weird that he, all of a sudden, gets shot and killed.
This may be a
Like,
conversation we want to stay out of, or we all start coming up missing.
yeah, that's true.
Wow.
That's true. If I come up missing, the Dallas
It's only an
police did
opinion,
it.
and we are
You
all
know-
entitled to it.
Sometimes when
I'm
you're
not going to run from the truth
Yeah,
of the
no, I'm just
facet of what
joking.
it is.
sometimes when you're a key witness on a particular case that's so publicized like that, there are other talk shows are willing to pick you up, and they ask you various questions, and the case can open up more. I don't know why he's killed, but I know he's not here to appear on any talk show now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to shoot him in the mouth, and I mean, it's definitely not a coincidence.
That's a statement. A heck of a
Clearly.
statement.
Yeah, it's definitely not a coincidence.
Of course,
Clearly,
we know that. Yeah,
They
yeah,
called
yeah.
the whistleblower that testified against Richard Nixon. They called him Deep Throat. So
Oh.
they shot this guy in the mouth.
Well, this guy got shot in the mouth too. The witness here got shot in the mouth too, right?
That's crazy. What about the behavior of the judge?
And,
The judge getting off the bench and hugging on the murder victim, hugging the family and stuff. What about that? I just feel
That's
like that's
unprecedented.
very.
that's unprecedented. To get off the bench and hug somebody, I ain't never seen nothing like that. That's kind of I'm at a loss for. I mean, hey,
And that's really, like he said, unprecedented, because a judge have to still stay in the place of not being biased.
she did the paperwork.
You can't just. I mean, I'm
did
happy if she gave
did
her the
the guideline
Bible
paperwork.
and told her about Jesus, but I'm saying that's still never heard of.
yeah,
Yeah,
You can't do that.
yeah. I think she overstepped her boundaries because I never seen that in all these years. I never seen that happen before. You know.
Someone just posted
blatant
forgiveness
step.
comes from the heart, not from a hug.
well, yeah, well, I mean,
Amen.
Forgiveness comes from the heart, not from a hug.
well, I mean, the statement is just blatantly disrespectful anyway. I mean, anytime you have a legal system that's showing emotions, like sentencing and different things like that, is based off of facts, OV variables, and things like that. So when you sentence someone off of emotion, I mean, it just says a lot anyway, because the flip side of that is, what if you didn't feel sorry? What if you didn't feel bad?
Mike nervous. What you got to say?
you have somebody that's just been found guilty of a murder case.
Yeah.
Now, how do the judge come off the bench and empathize for someone that's just found guilty in their courtroom? Period.
I mean, no, the answer
Sentence
is
them only
blatant.
to 10 years.
I mean, no, the answer is
I mean,
blatant.
it's
This
a
was
sentence for
constructed from the
probation.
beginning.
Well, did you hear the one juror that was interviewed? There was one juror that was interviewed, a black girl, who said, she showed so much remorse.
Who did?
Amber.
Wow.
Amber showed
She played her
so
part.
much remorse that I could not see her doing 28 years because she looked like she was truly sorry.
She played her part.
She should have did life just off the incompetency of
She
walking
played her
into
part.
somebody's
Without
house
question.
and killing them as a cop.
She
You
played her
know,
part.
I get the lady that had a long day and went to the bar and had a couple drinks from work. That's just, you know, this new CPL owner don't really know how to use her gun. But you a trained officer, you know, like, come on, that wasn't a mistake. You can
No,
miss me
it
with
wasn't.
Did
Miss me
she
with
ever say anything prior to her being sentenced?
I don't remember her saying anything or apologizing. All the apologizing was coming from everyone else. Did anyone see her apologize to the family or read a statement to the family or whatever? I
She
didn't
whispered
see
in the
any.
brother's ear after he asked for a hug.
No, because I'm never been a stranger to the courtroom, and every time I've been sentenced for anything, I have the liberty to show remorse and ask the judge for an opportunity to look past or beyond or admit my failures. And this is what I'm saying. We putting an emphasis on the fact that the young man apologized, but this lady that committed the crime should have been the one that was
Yeah,
willing
and she
to
didn't say
apologize to
anything.
somebody.
because she wasn't sorry. Like, people only apologize when they sorry.
Yeah, I don't think she was sorry either.
No, people apologize when they're sorry. She had no reason to apologize. She wasn't sorry.
Now, I saw some clips going around on Facebook of some sentencing, and some brothers jumped over that counter and beat the crap out of the person who killed their sister or shot their brother or whatever. You know, I just couldn't. I don't know. It's hard for me to grasp that whole thing. So, you know, nobody get in my inbox or none of that. You get your feelings hurt. You know, this is my opinion, and I just cannot see myself. And someone did kill my brother. My brother's been dead about 10 years now, and we don't know who killed him. But even if I found it out today, I don't know if I could embrace that person with a hug. That's just what I'm saying. All of that or whatever, I have moved on from it. It doesn't paralyze me or whatever. I'm living my life as normal. But every time I look at my little nephew who was left behind, I feel some type of way about that. You cheated him out of his father and the ability to grow up knowing who his dad was or whatever. And it's just so many of us that's affected by what you have done. For me to forgive you to that degree that I'm going to hug you, who's going to hug my nephew? You know, I'm just not feeling none of
No,
that.
I
So-
don't think forgiveness is a gesture of some type of listening for the other person. I think more so that forgiveness is more so for you. Like, we know as individuals that if we walk around with negative energy and putting these things out into existence, it'll, you know, kind of counter our blessings because, you know, it'll stop us from getting the positive things. So when we forgive someone, we're more so doing it for ourselves. I'm not forgiving you to say that, you know, you shouldn't deal with nature or you shouldn't deal with whatever you got coming to you. I'm forgiving you more so saying I don't hate you. Like, I don't have the energy to muster up hate to put towards you every single day. That's forgiveness. I mean, in my book.
I heard one preacher say it's like me drinking poison, but I want you to die from it. So it's really more so like Brother Truth said, it's like me releasing this pain, this hurt on my behalf. It has nothing to do with the individual who done something against me. Piggybacking on you, Valerie, I had a brother when I was 20. He was 22. He was murdered. He got shot 7 times in the face. And this was one of the hardest struggles that I have ever endured in life, just to deal with the fact someone literally took a handgun and shot your brother 7 times in the face and he lost his life. Yeah.
Wow. You know, for me, forgiveness works for me in this way. I feel like that forgive and forget does not work unless you brain dead and then had a heart attack and you just have no more feelings. Your cardiovascular system is just done. Because the way the brain operates, you're going to always be able to recall information. So forgive and forget, that goes out the window as far as black coffee is concerned. What happens for me is I will always remember what happens, but I try to forget how much pain it caused me. And that comes with healing and moving past it. Even with my molestation, I just forget how much pain and trauma that has caused me. But I never forget the fact that somebody molested me. So for someone to even say forgive and forget, to me, unless you dead, brain dead, or your heart been pulled out your chest, I don't even see how that's humanly possible to do. However, for time to pass, and time does not heal all pain. Time ticks and tocks and passes. You got to dig deep within yourself to heal. And I've done a lot of healing over these years now that I don't hate that person, but still, that happened my senior year of high school. I'm still not hugging you. You better watch out for me still. I still feel some type of way, so I don't understand how that works. God bless everybody who can operate that way. Don't get in my inbox. You will get your feelings hurt. If you don't feel the way I feel, or you don't like anything I've stated, that's what intercessory prayer is for, and I suggest you use that. I will not be entertaining anything else. This is just a show of my opinion, but this is how I feel, and it's just not something that I could bring myself to do. Like they said earlier, forgiveness comes from the heart, and it's not a hug. I wouldn't wish ill will on anyone. After that, that's not in my power or control. And like True said, you don't want it to consume your life every single day of your life past that traumatic event. At some point, you have to move past it. But I don't know if I could ever just embrace that person. And, I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself. If she was on fire and it took up some spit to put her out, I probably would swallow first and see what I had left. That's just where I'm at. So.
Well.
That's just
there it
me.
is.
That's why it's called black coffee. no sugar, no cream, because you're going to keep it straight up.
I'm just keeping it 100 with you. I would try to do something, but it wouldn't be off rip. She going to burn for a minute before I try to do anything about it. And I'm just being realistic who I am as a person. Now, that's what I say right now. But a lot of times what I say is not actually what happens when I'm in situations. Sometimes I respond a little bit better and sometimes I respond a little bit worse. But I'm just saying right now, having the time to think about it, I would just be so angry and still so hurt. I can't say that vengeance belongs to the Lord. If I had that one opportunity to pay you back, I'm pretty sure I would. That's just me. So we are going to a song. This is the perfect song because it's I Don't Know Why. It's the title of this song by Millard Thomas Jr. And the song goes, I don't know why Jesus loves me, but he does. And Jesus loves black coffee, even with all of my crazy ways of thinking. So we're going to go to this song and we're going to come right back. were just listening to I Don't Know Why by Millard Thomas Jr., who is my cousin. I love his CD, What's Your Request? You can download it off iTunes, and all of the music that you heard on the show this week and last week was off of that album. I had a little bit more lecturing of forgiveness on the break, and I know that the Lord loves me and my ways. So that was good. Thank you, Pastor Mike. It was good to have him on the show today to give us some balance. Let's talk about this, though, because it's some hypocritical people out here. I've been reading Facebook, so everybody is, forgiveness this, and lay off the brother for forgiving the murderer of his child. But then as soon as Kanye give a concert, all of these same Christians start going nuts on them. Like, y'all hypocrites. The same people who were saying it was okay with how Amber Geiger was being treated and all of this stuff with Botham Jean's case. Now all of a sudden when Kanye comes out, I see another side to you. What's that about? Look, let everything that have breath praise the Lord. That's Kanye too. Or are y'all saying let everything that have breath praise the Lord except for Kanye?
Yeah,
let me tell you
That's
something. Kanye didn't have to do one free concert or anything from money. He has his own bread. He secured his own bag, and he got a Kardashian who has plenty of money. So none of that was about money. Kanye, in my opinion, when his mother died, is when we saw this side of him. And so for him to come back now and to say that he's worshiping God and Christ, to me, gives him at least some level of stability and a foundation to begin to build his mental health and build himself again. And if he's doing it by, having these free church services or concerts, in my mind, it's no different than what the mega church is pimping and everybody else pimping. So if he's pimping, he's joined the other pimps then. What makes this so much different? So I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on, but I say, hey, if he loved the Lord, and the Republicans did free the slaves, you don't know your history? He's not talking about stuff that's all outlandish stuff. He talk crazy so much when he say real stuff. I guess people think he's still talking crazy. So I don't know. But what I say is there are all different types of people in the world. So it's going to take all different types of services for people to gather together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that he is gathering people together to serve Christ. I do not. Would I go to one of his church services? I probably would have went, but not to serve the Lord, just for a little infotainment, just to see what was going on, the curiosity in me. And if I would have been moved by something that was said or done, though, I wouldn't have been too big of a person to admit, like, hey, that was really cool. I felt the spirit of the Lord while I was there or whatever. But I'm becoming so against organized church, though, that, I give the brother props for being very creative with how he handled the situation and brought the people together. And if that's another way to get some of the lost sheep to come to Christ in a different way than you would, because, if some of those same people come into what we call a traditional church, those people will be ostracized, looked at differently, talked about. They came up in Shane Park, if they were smelling like sativa or whatever they had going on, they could still praise the Lord. Sativa.
What is it?
Weed.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Thought it was
I know what it was. I thought it was a perfume or something. She says
no, but what I'm saying is, let everything that have breath praise the Lord. Come as you are. And all of these other cliches I hear about attending church or praising God or worshiping. Why did all of that go out the window with Kanye?
We're going to let the pastor answer this first.
Okay, I want to answer this first because we, in the church, we have so many self-righteous people. Self-righteousness means that everything I do and what we do in our church, what we do in our organization or denomination is right. And if you don't do what we do, and if you don't line it up with what we're doing, then you're wrong. My point is, we have gotten to the point where we think we can pick and choose who's saved and who's not saved. I heard a preacher, I saw a preacher write on Facebook say that President Trump accepted Christ. That could be true.
And that could be true.
That could be true. It's a whole lot of racist Christians and racist everything. My point is this, is that if President Trump can get the credit for accepting Christ, Kanye could be a prophet. Kanye can be a prophet.
Well,
I mean, you follow what I'm saying? I mean,
okay,
we
Rob, I
can't
saw
pick
you
and
all
choose.
laid
We don't
back.
know what's in Kanye's heart. That's the point. Because we look at people from the outward appearance, but we don't look at that man's heart. I mean, why would he say he's a Christian? Maybe he is a Christian. I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that he say he is.
I'm just going
to
to say this, and I'm going to back on up out the conversation. Religion, music, and education has always been used as a conveyance to keep the sheep in order. I digress.
Whoa. That was
I digress.
powerful right there. True, you should after that.
What she say, you better before you get beat up.
Yeah, you done stunned us. We all like, whoa. But hey, that was powerful what you just spoke. I saw Robert leaning back, taking it all in, and now he's leaned forward. What you got, Rob?
I'm not a Kanye fan, first of all. I don't follow him. When he came to Detroit, I was not impressed. I mean, I got I think different from other folks probably, and not some say my thoughts are perfect, but there's always a ploy to whatever someone is doing. Whether he's a born again Christian, we don't know. Whether he used it for his next album release, we don't know.
Right.
I think, he captivated the hearts of people in the city of Detroit with a free ticket on 2 different venues at 2 different places. So we don't know what Kanye mind up. He's a genius. He knows he can get up under somebody's skin, and he knows what he's doing. That's my opinion. It's a smart move.
If it was a publicity stunt, it was a good one. And I feel that, I'm not a big follower of Kanye either. I don't know any of his songs or anything like that.
You didn't sing a
Neither do I.
Kanye. You didn't sing a
Neither do I.
Kanye
I
song
don't know none of his
before.
I don't know anything.
You didn't hum
about Kanye. I do not.
Y'all not
You
gonna
can't
sit
tell
here and
me
play
that.
Kanye like
Unless
like
you
this.
tell me a song I know of.
I don't know. I mean, wait a minute. I do know. Wait a minute. I don't know the name of the song, but I know.
What's up?
Y'all
I know
so
he
fake.
did a song with.
Be real.
I don't know none of his songs.
Well, you know what? I just say,
Can't believe y'all
like
playing
what
that brother
Pastor
like
Mike
that.
said, we don't know his heart. We don't know Donald Trump's heart. We can't say if someone accepted Christ or not, or what's going on. And people are judgmental in churches. I have, we're going to do a whole thing on church hurt, but that judgment in the church is what keeps a lot of people out of the church.
You will find out in the next 6 months.
That religious control that some people think they have, it's very abusive to tell you how you should dress, what you should look like, what you should do, and all of that. I just feel like, if God knows your heart, what does my outer appearance and what I have on have to do with anything as far as your religious doctrine is concerned?
Maybe we got it wrong though. Like maybe we not supposed to be 70, 80 people in one place listening to one person tell us how to see God. Like we all got different fingerprints. So like what if everybody's relationship with God was unique? Like what if we all saw God differently? And that's no shot at, a church or institution. But when we look at the different problems that we're having, the different religions, the different ideologies, I tell my team and people I deal with all the time, I don't want to argue with you about how you see God. I don't want to argue with you about how you pray. I don't care about any of that stuff. What's more so important to me is after you get up off your knees and you done with your ritual or whatever it is, do you be a father to your children? Are you a husband to your wife? Are you something in the community that can make a change? That's where we're at in the black community. We don't have time to sit around and argue about how a person praising God or how a person is giving praise to this intelligent design that we see around us. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. So I don't really, go into it. Like I build with pastors, imams, different philosophies and organizations, and I try to respect them all. And it's more so, what are you doing to show improve?
Yes.
Because I met a lot of people that just talk and could quote the Bible and quote lessons and, be the best soldier for whoever. But at the end of the day, what are you doing with this knowledge? Because knowledge ain't never been power. The application of has.
Exactly.
Yes, true.
Shut it down.
True.
I digress. I digress.
I believe religion is based upon the love of power. I believe a relationship with God is based upon the power of love.
Oh.
I don't think I don't doubt nothing you said, because if all of us have different fingerprints, none of us have the same make of our teeth. Everybody in the world have a different relationship with God. Everybody see God different from the next person. It's not no two people that see him the same. So that's why you have to teach people to have a relationship versus to teach people a bunch of rules and regulations.
Yeah, I think everybody does have their own relationship with God. And I just, with my biological father being a pastor, we have a lot of conversation as such. And we agree to disagree often because I'm a very unorthodox person. But I believe that, I believe what True said. And also what Pastor Mike said. So we are going to prepare to close. It's been a wonderful Stop the Madness Monday. I see Rob over there thinking, I wish we had another whole hour for him to pour those thoughts out.
I'm holding back tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got you got the two good brothers over here. You know what I'm saying? They're giving their opinion and as well taken in. The True. Very, very, very perspective. Give great perspective.
Yes.
And, the minister here as well too.
Yeah.
So you just have to, weigh in on what you feel with the Lord, because they always say the words that I speak are the law of good. So if you believe in whatever the God said, then you trust those words.
I agree. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. This is not a show where we try to spill the tea or make you feel dazed like you had a cheap shot of liquor. I just want you to see things from a different perspective. Mine. We out of here until next week. I love you, Detroit. Take care.